And welcome back, everyone, to part 5 of What If Ichigo was part Saiyan. We're now in the Hueco Mundo arc. And I just realized, how am I going to do the Hueco Mundo? I didn't actually stop to think about this. I mean, I know how the story will go, but I'm like, because the Hueco Mundo arc technically breaks up around the fight with Grimjow. But it goes beyond it, and then it's technically into the fake Karakura arc, and then we go back, and then we go forth, and yeah, well, no, it doesn't stop at Grimjow. Sorry, no, it stops around right at the start of the Ulquiorra fight, and then goes into the fake Karakura arc, which then is now technically, I guess. So yeah, I guess where we'll stop is the fight with Ulquiorra if we get there, because there's things we should address, and it's two things we need to address right now. I'm kind of now going to rework how the Hollow Mask and the Super Saiyan work. I think what is Super Saiyan on its own is the Super Saiyan on its own is still a 50 times multiplier, all that. The Hollow Mask, in 1 second here, Hollow Mask multiplier. I've had a lot of people say it's a 10 times multiplier, and that seems to be the common consensus, but the problem is, let's see, in all, the Hollow Mask is said to be a power greater than Bankai, and characters both are shown to have, a Hollow Mask over, use the Hollow Mask over Bankai. Let's see, where the hell did that go? Point being, it seems that they do seem to imply that the Bankai or the Hollow Mask doesn't inherently give you a bit of a boost over Bankai. That is not to say that it is a stronger multiplier than Bankai, though. Because Bankai, the general gist of Bankai is it's a 5 to 10 times multiplier. But that's a varying spectrum. The Hollow Mask, there's no clear-cut multiplier is the problem. I've had multiple people in the comments for this video say that the Hollow Mask is a 10-time multiplier. That is a false statement. Let's just get it right out. Let's just get it right out of the way right now. That's a false statement. It's not necessarily a wrong statement. Let me rephrase it. False isn't the right word. That is a unconfirmed statement. Now there are statements for that statement that can back that up, but for example, I've got something I got the internet right here saying that's actually a 20 times multiplier for Ichigo. That makes no effing sense. Why would it be 10 then if it's 20? Like, the Bankai multiplier we know is 5 to 10 times, roughly. It can be more, it can be overall less, but between 5 to 10 times is the average. So, what I'm going to treat this as right now is, let's just say, for the sake of arguments, the Hollow Mask is in fact a 10 times multiplier. I'm going to treat it as such. And by the way, it kind of gives you an idea of how much stronger the opponents got if that is the case. Because once each Grimjow went Resurrection, Ichigo's Hollow Mask did not give him as big an edge as it initially did. So they were pretty even, which tells you, A, just how strong Grimjow's base was, and then B, that the Resurrection really is the equivalent of like a Bankai, roughly speaking. At least in terms of power. And then Segunda Tapa, which is second release. That's a whole nother kettle of fish we'll have to get into later. But the point being is that what I'm trying to get at is we're going to treat it as such. The Super Saiyan form is just Ichigo's transformation he has. And because he's not sometimes trained for it, it's more or less like what we saw in post-Namek Saga, where, okay, I can turn into Super Saiyan. I can stay in the Super Saiyan form for a decent amount of time. This isn't perfected Super Saiyan is what I'm trying to get at. There is still like amount of time you can stay in Super Saiyan before you tire out. But the Super Saiyan form, I think, can tether his Hollow Mask and keep it around longer. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Okay, now that we've gotten all that out of the way, was there anything else I wanted to bring up? Zenkais. That's right, Zenkais. Ichigo clearly has been getting Zenkais. To be fair, Ichigo kind of gets Zenkais anyway. If you really watch Bleach, he does seem to get Zenkais. It's not confirmed, it's not called Zenkais, whatever, but he always seems to come back a bit stronger than before. So, most likely, due to his hybrid physiology, he is likely getting some sort of boost every time he comes back. Hell, we see Shinigami kind of do that too. mean, we know Kenpachi for a fact does that, but Kenpachi's a special case. But we've also seen other Shinigami do that as well. One last thing. Someone said that there's no precedence for Saiyans in Bleach, and that Ichigo's only a hybrid because of Aizen. Yeah, I don't recall not saying that. I did say Ichigo is a hybrid, sure, but in a perfect hybrid of those 4 species. But yeah, I never said Aizen wasn't responsible for that. He's still responsible for that. Aizen probably just isn't even aware of the fact that he's part Saiyan. And the fact there are no Saiyans in Bleach, yeah, that's the point of a what if. What if there were? So I'm not sure what the statement was about. Regardless, now that my 5 goddamn minutes in, let's get into this. So Ichigo and the gang go to rescue Orihime. They wind up in Hueco Mundo, and things are going butts in. They go up against the Sand Hollow. Even Ichigo can't do anything against that thing because of the nature of the Hollow. Eventually, the new get in there, and oh god, I can't remember their name. They're the former Espada. Dordoni was the name of the one he fought. Circu Wonder Witch, I think was the name. Wonder Watch, something like Sandwich, something like that. What was the name of that group? I'm looking it up right now. Ronkar Dordoni, which we do get to see him come back at least. The Nino, I thought he was here. It's funny, I do like him. Let's see here. Now, where is he? I need at least one of those members of the group here. Let's see here. I know they had a special name. Oh, yeah. Gantenbane, or Gantenbane, whatever it was. He was one of them. He was one of the 3 Espada who were 3 Orankar who used to be Espada. So what was the name of that group? The select 3. All right, come on. They were called the Previon Espada. That's what it is. They were the Previon Espada. Previous Espadas. He fought against Ichigo encounters Dordoni. Now, Ichigo base form is already stronger than he is in the original, but I still don't think without Super Saiyan or Bankai or Hollow Mask, he's going to be able to take on Dordoni. Those wind abilities are insane. And I paused a little bit there. Sorry about that. Those wind abilities are very much too powerful. And that's even before he releases. His kicks are powerful. His Hyaru is very powerful. The difference here is that Ichigo probably does a cost analysis, weighs his options, because Bankai does take energy, versus the Super Saiyan form, which also is going to take energy, but is something his body's more naturally attuned to. So I think he takes like a kind of risk analysis assessment in his head. Like, should I use Bankai or should I just transform? It's like, you better hurry up, Nino, otherwise you're dead. And then Ichigo just grabs and yeah, thanks for the advice. Keep in mind, 50 times multiplier versus 10 times multiplier. Either way, that's a lot of multiplier. So Dordoni now is immediately effed because Ichigo is 5 times stronger than he is in the Bankai alone, and that's not even including the alleged 10% that the Visored Mask gives him. So, and he one-shot Dordoni in an instant when he put the Hollow Mask on. So, with 50 times multiplier, even if Dordoni does go Resurrection, I have a feeling Ichigo is probably going to be able to beat him without any real issue. They're going to duke it out for a while, and maybe the win is enough that Ichigo briefly goes into Super Bankai. But yeah, Super Bankai. Goes Super Saiyan and Bankai, and then just quickly blitzes him, and then down he goes. Now, granted, he does it because, out of respect, Dordoni's base kind of right. Like, yeah, you just go out against all opponents, or else, why? I can't remember exactly how to put it. The disrespect, all that. And Ichigo honors that, and he heads off. Now, everyone else is going to be having their similar adventures. Nothing's changing. Ichigo is the main focus of this what if, and his adventures aren't going to really be affecting the other adventures unless he kills an opponent that would normally have been. Would not have been killed. He eventually runs into Ulquiorra. Now, this is a big moment because remember, I think what I said in the last chapter. Ulquiorra in base form at that point in time was so far beyond Ichigo that his Bankai and Hollow Mask alleged, if we're maxing that shit out, 100 times multiplier. All it did was destroy his shirt. Actually, no, it just tattered it. I remember now. It didn't even destroy his shirt. What destroyed his shirt was Ichigo trying to stab, just not going through the Hyaru, and then ripping the shirt so to reveal that he was only the fourth. That's how much stronger base Ulquiorra was than Ichigo. So, with that said, Ichigo would probably do the whole scaling up thing. He goes Bankai. That's not going to do anything. He goes Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan on Bankai. Okay, so 100 times multiplier didn't do a damn thing. We have a alleged 500 times multiplier here, allegedly. Well, it probably isn't 500 because Ichigo hasn't mastered his Bankai yet. It's probably closer to more like 5. We'll be nice and say do the middle ground 7. Technically 7.5, but let's say 7. So that means it's a 70 times multiplier, well, 350 times multiplier, which means Ichigo is 3.5 times stronger than when he fought Ulquiorra initially. So the question is, how much of a difference does that make in the fight? Unfortunately, we know Ichigo got stronger, I think, probably coming back from near death for Grimjaw's fight. And he was stronger again, we know for a fact, because he was able to go toe-to-toe with Ulquiorra's base form in the tower. How much stronger he got, though, is the question. Because it's clear, it wasn't just a minor boost. It's not like he went from a 5 to a 7. No, it's clearly, like, his power must have at least doubled. Minimum. Because even with a hollow mask initially, he couldn't put a scratch on him. Now he could put a scratch on him without the hollow mask. In fact, he overwhelmed his base when they fought the second time with the hollow mask. So, no, Ichigo must have gotten like a good serious multiplier between them. At least a 2 to 3 to 4 times at least. So now we're doing the math here. And yeah, we're going math. It's kind of like I'm doing a versus, but it's for a story context. If we go through the idea that Ichigo's base was stronger at that point than when he fought with the hollow mask, that means that Ichigo had to have been at least twice as strong, minimum than the hollow. So that makes him at least 200 times what he was, or like double that. So that means that Ichigo is 3.5 times stronger than where he was when he fought Ulquiorra. Doing the gymnastics here, should actually be able to Super Saiyan, not even the hollow mask, with Super Saiyan to put a cut on Ulquiorra. In fact, he should be able to actually put a solid amount of pressure on Ulquiorra. So when Ichigo comes in and does the Getsuga Tensho, Ulquiorra can't block it this time. He realizes he can't block it. He pulls out his arm and he can't block it. So he just gets that, and he actually just looks at him. I'm impressed, Ichigo Kurosaki. I must admit, I did not expect you to be this strong since our last encounter. So I'll do you the honor then of drawing my blade. Just comes in and they clash. And once again, Ichigo delivers the hit. To be fair, he only managed to make that hit by holding the Getsuga within his blade and then striking. But still, Ichigo, I think at that point means he could probably at least cut him without the use of Getsuga in the blade. And so they're clashing. Ulquiorra is actually very impressed. He's legitimately like, your strength is quite impressive, Ichigo Kurosaki. I must admit, but how much can you really handle? And then obviously he does the Sero, and Ichigo's just like, huh! And unfortunately he doesn't see the other Sero right there and does get blasted. Ichigo is able to kind of like get walking off, and they clash again. Ulquiorra again is noting that Ichigo is strong. Like, he's actually pushing him. And it's like, I don't have, and Ichigo's noting, he's been Super Saiyan for a little bit now. He fought against Dordoni. He's now fighting against Ulquiorra. Doesn't matter how much of a multiplier it is. If this isn't like perfected Super Saiyan and you're not used to doing it a lot, which Ichigo has done it several times, it's just he hasn't had enough time to really train specifically with it. Enough that he's used to it and comfortable with it. He notes that he's going to start getting tired. He can feel his energy starting to kind of wane. And Ulquiorra puts that, you're impressive, but unfortunately that's not all. If that's really all you can do, I don't think you're going to be much more of a threat. But then again, there's still something you're hiding, aren't you? The mask that Grimjaw said he saw. I'm curious. Let me see all your power. Yeah, and Ichigo finally blasts him back. Ulquiorra just casually, just whatever, swipes it away. It's like, fine, you want it, you got it. And again, if we put the 10 times multiplier, assuming Ichigo's now maybe dipped in power to like to say 3 times where he was against Ulquiorra originally. So that means that Ichigo is currently now, let's see here, 30 times stronger than where he was against Ulquiorra. And now Ulquiorra says like, Ichigo immediately is pressing it, and its blade is going to Ulquiorra's blade, which is what happened originally, nearly cutting the sword in half. Ulquiorra blasts him point blank. Ichigo does feel it, but just, is that really the best you've got? At least release your resurrection. Come on! And Ulquiorra's like, yeah, sure, why not? And he hightails it up into the class. It's like, where the hell are you going? And so he basically lures Ichigo up into the ceiling above Las Noches. So we get that fight early, because otherwise Ulquiorra is screwed. Because, like I said, here I'm treating Super Saiyan like an energy that's able to maintain the hollow form. That's why Ichigo is able to bypass the limitations of like the time limits. I mean, to be fair, he could hold on to his hollow mask for a long time. Even without Super Saiyan. In canon, he could hold on for like a long time. Even for a visor. And so Ichigo and him are duking out, and then I see you wanted my resurrection. I believe it's, what was it? Envelop. It's bad. It's Spanish for bad. And Ichigo suddenly just feels the power. Now, oh god, okay, multipliers again real quick here. Again, we know that the espada is something roughly, it's tough to say what it is. It's something kind of equivalent to their Bankai a little bit, but it's not a confirmed, science or anything like that. We know for a fact that once Ulquiorra went into his resurrection, because if we're going with the idea that Ichigo is at least 2 to 3 times stronger than he was when he initially fought Ulquiorra, he puts on the hollow mask, then his hollow mask form. That means he puts on a hollow mask. He's 10 times stronger than that. So he's 30 times stronger than his hollow mask was originally, roughly speaking. That means that Ulquiorra, because he was now starting to get his ass kind of handed to him, must be under half that. Or around half that. So again, we're using a base term here. 30 times multiplier, only 15. If it's about a 5 to 10 times, even if it's a 5 times, that's 60 times versus, doing rough numbers here, 60 versus 30, or 150 versus 30. So no wonder Ulquiorra bitch smacked him around just in that first release. Here it's not so clear cut, but again, Ichigo has been now fighting for a little bit. His energy is waning to a certain degree. Ulquiorra is now either almost as strong as Ichigo, or equal to Ichigo, if not surpassing him. They clash, although it's now, again, a dead heat fight. Like, dead heat. They are clashing. Ulquiorra isn't able to do the whole, I'm going to take your head off, and Ichigo doing the reactionary thing. No, they're clear cut. They are going toe-to-toe. Ulquiorra does have better regenerations, though, so when Ichigo does land a shot, maybe even takes off an arm at one point, Ulquiorra does an Cero Obscura, the black Cero. And, he does it, and then grows his arm back. And he explains that, whereas others put their abilities or their strength into power and speed, I put mine into my regeneration. And so, I say, I will defeat you. I will rescue Orihime. You will die here, Ichigo. Perhaps you will try and you will fail, because unlike me, I can see the truth. You're getting tired, Ichigo. And Ichigo is getting tired. His energy's waning, like slowly but surely. Like, he's been fighting for a while now with this guy who's been relatively equal to him and dishing out damage to him as well. And not to mention that he's been transforming all day. So yeah, he's getting tired. And so Ulquiorra and him go again. Ultimately, this leads to Ichigo ultimately being finally getting taken down below the Dome of Las Noches. I think finally his mask breaks. While his Super Saiyan can hold it there longer, his mask finally gets out, and he finally just gets taken down. And Ulquiorra transforms back. he just he looks at Ichigo, and Ichigo just tries to swipe at him and reveals the number 4. Let's think, for the sake of argument, say they land back in that building. It's like, even if you were somehow able to manage the strength to even if it to defeat me, you'd still have to deal with 3 Espada stronger than myself. Goodbye, Ichigo Kurosaki. And then she just and it's like, no, and Ichigo drops. And so Ulquiorra goes, changes his sword, all that. You get the remainder of the, what we'll call it, the Hueco Mundo arc will go more or less as such, where Orihime heals up Ichigo. He pretty much bitch smacks Grimmjow around, and in fact, would most likely bitch smack Niratora around, because he's already shown he's at least as strong, or almost as strong, as the 4th Espada's Resurrection, which means his power does ultimately surpass theirs when he's going all out, which he would definitely do here. And because Grimmjow, he'd be able to defeat Grimmjow a lot more quickly, he would not be anywhere near as worn out this time around with the fight with Niratora, which means Niratora comes in, they clash. He, I think, just decides to go all the Getsugatenshou and just takes down Niratora, who just, even if Niratora does transform, or Ichigo shows off his power, Niratora transforms, they clash for a bit, and it's a solid fight. But Ichigo's like, I don't have time for this! And finally just brings the blade down. And Ichigo just like, it's like, okay, we're going, okay, everything good? Like, great, Ichigo. And then he said something, he's like, Ichigo, you've gotten pretty strong, kid. And it's like, Kenpachi? He's like, what are you doing here? Well, we had come here to help you, but it looks like you at least had that guy taken care of. Shame, he looked pretty strong. What about you, Ichigo? You want to have a go? I was like, no, we're fine. To which Star quickly shows up, kidnaps Orihime, crap, and then they have to go. He has to go and rescue her. It's like, oh man, he gets to have all the fun. Now, that being said, is this a possible scenario? I'm going to say what I'm thinking about for the next part, because I actually think this is something where we could do an actual change. It wouldn't be a huge change, mind you, but it would be a change. So Ichigo goes, and Ulquiorra's like, you're still alive. And Ichigo just decides, transforms right out the gate. It's like, yeah, it's not going to go the same as it did last time. And so that is where we're going to end part 6 or 5 or 6. This part. That's where we're going to end this part. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Next week, don't worry, I'm not going to spend so much time dealing with that 5 minutes of, okay, let's just explain where we're going on this. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Later.